If you're anything like me and you've spent years jumping from one diet to the next, eating low-calorie crash diet, constantly feeling restricted around food, very chaotic, endless amounts of cardio trying to burn off as many calories as you can, only to now feeling like your body is actually not responding anymore and questioning, actually, is your metabolism broken? Have you actually damaged your metabolism? If that sounds like you, rest assured you are not the only one, because many women reach this point after years of yo-yo dieting, crash dieting, restrictive dieting, endless amounts of cardio, where they reach a point where they feel like they're just pushing against their body and it's not working anymore and it's not responding. Not only that, but everything feels super chaotic and it feels like we're working against our body. Everything feels really out of balance. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly why your metabolism feels like it's slowed down after years of restrictive dieting, what is actually happening with our body and metabolism, and most importantly, what we can do about it, because rest assured your metabolism is not broken, neither are you. You are not broken, particularly if you are in unhealthy relationships with food and it does feel very chaotic. You are not broken, you are not the problem, and you can get to the other side. If you're new around here, welcome. I'm Hetty and I'm a personal trainer, women's health, wellness and confidence coach. For years I was stuck in the same cycle of yo-yo dieting, feeling completely out of balance with my own body and having a very unhealthy, chaotic relationship with food. So if that sounds like you, definitely stick around and feel free to subscribe if you want to see more of these kind of videos. As always, here's a quick disclaimer. Topics in this video, I am going to be talking about restrictive dieting, calories and metabolism, and touching on the topics of weight loss at certain points. So if you're not quite ready for that, if you're still struggling with things disordered eating, if this video feels triggering in any way, feel free to skip out this video. I never want my videos to come across as triggering for anybody. So if you're not quite there yet, that is absolutely fine. I'm not quite sure about what metabolism actually is, and maybe the whole subject still overwhelms you wanting to know more about the actual science behind metabolism. I'm going to link a video that I uploaded not long ago about the topic of metabolism and everything there is to know about metabolism, so I will leave that down in the description box below if you want to check that out as well. And I would definitely recommend watching that first so that you understand the actual concept of metabolism. The first thing that I want to do is actually acknowledge the frustration, because if you are here, you've probably spent years fighting against your body and dieting constantly, feeling like you need to micromanage your food in some way, jumping from diet to diet, and it gets so exhausting. The mental chatter that we experience and how also lonely it can feel. I felt super isolated all of the years that I was struggling in that cycle, because I was isolating myself from my normal day-to-day life because I was trying so hard to control my food. We get in these cycles not because there's anything wrong with us, but because we're trying so hard to change our body. We're using the wrong tactics when it comes to our body, which only increases the resistance that our body works against us. Our body's main purpose is to keep us alive as humans. That's our one body's job. In that video that I mentioned, and I'll link it below, it's exactly what I was talking about, how everything that our bodies do is protecting us from survival. And we have spent years and years crash dieting and underfeeding our body, dieting, restricting. What we're essentially teaching our body is to slow down every process that it's got, including our metabolism, and start to adapt. Our bodies don't realize what we are doing. Our bodies don't realize that there is an infinite amount of food available. Our bodies just sense food is not super available, because one minute we might have lots and lots of food and then the next minute we're starting a new diet and we're restricting and cutting out all of these foods. So how our body responds with that is it starts to slow everything down, because our body's basically thinking, oh my god, where's all of the food gone? This is bad. Survival is at risk right now. In the video that I was talking about, I broke down exactly how our body has these primal instincts to basically keep us alive. Now, when we have a high functioning metabolism, that means that all the processes in our body are working efficiently and effectively. our body is burning calories efficiently because our bodies feel safe that food is readily available. However, if we have spent years of crash dieting, years of excessive cardio, doing excessive amounts of exercise and yo-yoing dieting, 1 minute starting a new diet, the next minute overeating and compulsively overeating, our body doesn't feel regulated. Our body doesn't feel safe that food is readily available because our body doesn't know what the hell is going on. And what it does in response to that, if our bodies sense that food is not readily available, that food is sometimes scarce, the body is going to adapt to that because it's trying to protect us. Because as humans, we need food to function, we need food to be here, and we need food to live and thrive. If our body's metabolism continued to work efficiently whilst also yo-yo dieting, that would mean that our body would starve to death. So after a period of time, after starting a new diet, for example, what will start to happen is our metabolism will start to match energy that is coming in. So we might have a high functioning metabolism that's working efficiently and burning, let's say, for example, 2,000 calories a day. Suddenly we on a diet and we're down to 1,200 calories. All of a sudden, all of that food has suddenly just disappeared, and our body then senses that its survival is under threat. So what it's going to do is it's going to slow everything down. It's going to slow all of the processes down. This is where we might run into problems such as losing our period and hormonal issues. Again, this is because all of those things require energy, and our body no longer is getting the extra energy that it needs from food. This adaptive process that our body goes through is called adaptive thermogenesis, which, like I said, if we are now taking in less amounts of food, less amounts of calories, our body is going to adapt to that. Do that by burning fewer calories altogether. Metabolism that was burning 2,000 to 2,200 calories every day, suddenly now, because she slashed all of her calories, her now new basal metabolic rate is only 1,200 calories a day. That's a big chunk of calories. That's nearly 1,000 calories lost that our body is no longer burning. Another reason why metabolism might have slowed down, muscle loss. So being just endless amounts of cardio, having the focus of burning calories, jump on a new diet and they slash all of their calories, they lose a lot of weight very, very quickly. But the problem with that is most of that weight that they've lost is muscle. Because in that video, I talk about the power of muscle and how muscle increases our metabolism. Definitely watch that if you want a more deeper in-depth understanding of why muscle is so important for our metabolism. If we look at the same situation, so for somebody who is constantly crash dieting, loses a lot of muscle very, very quickly, suddenly now their metabolism is even more at threat of slowing down, because as I mentioned it in that other video, muscle is metabolically active tissue. Without it, our metabolism is going to dip. We might have lost a lot of weight on the scale. When most of that weight is coming from muscle, we're gonna see and experience the effects of having a very adaptive, very slow metabolism over time. And this is usually what happens when people go on these extreme diets. If we do have the goal of fat loss, we need to make sure that it's a very slow and consistent, very sustainable approach rather than these quick fixes, because these quick fixes are rooted in losing large amounts of muscle, which essentially is not what we want either. If we lose weight too quickly, we are basically sacrificing muscle, and studies have been shown by this that if we focus on losing body fat in a slow and consistent and sustainable way over a quick fix and losing weight very, very quickly, the people that do it on a slow and controlled sustainable approach loses more body fat and maintains more lean muscle over time. We're going to keep a higher metabolism. It means that we're going to be able to keep our metabolism running efficiently and effectively, which means we feel better, we can eat more, and our body's burning more calories efficiently and effectively. The amount of stress our bodies go under when we are constantly yo-yo dieting, over exercising. What I mentioned in the other video is we're putting our body under a lot of stress. When our bodies feel stressed, it's going to try and slow right down to preserve as much body fat as it can. because our bodies sense that body fat means survival. It helps keep us alive, essentially. So if our bodies feel like its survival is at threat, of course it's going to slow our metabolism right down. And essentially think of your body like a thermostat. If you was to keep turning down the dial, doing this by going on crash diets and restricting our intake, what we're doing essentially is we keep turning that down the dial on the thermostat by decreasing our intake and eating less and less. Our body then learns that that's the amount of food that's coming in. So our body then adapts to the amount of food that we're taking in. So it's going to do that by adapting, and it's going to slow right down to match the amount of food that it's taking. Good news with this is because our metabolism and body is so adaptive, and it's so cool. Once we know how our bodies work, this is when we can start working with our bodies rather than against it, and everything starts to flow and everything starts to feel super easy from that point. Now we know that our metabolism adapts when we take in less energy. The opposite is also true. So our metabolism is able to adapt the more that we start to feed it. This can feel very scary if you've come from years of crash dieting. Trust me, I felt the exact same, because all I had known was restricting my food and counting every single calorie and feeling so scared to eat more. And so I realized that actually that was doing me more harm than good, particularly with my metabolism, and it was taking me further away from where I wanted to be. That was when I started to consciously work with my body, which meant facing some fears, which meant eating more food, which feels terrifying at first, but when you know that this is how your body works and trust that that is the process that we need to take our bodies through, that's when things start to change. Your metabolism is not broken, it can adapt the other way too. And with the right approach, you can rebuild it. And that's exactly what I did. And I help my clients do as well. With the right strategy and the right support, you can do the exact same thing, where you can go from a metabolism that feels really slow and sluggish, and you're not stabilizing your weight yo-yos, able to maintain your weight on a much higher amount of food, which of course is the dream, right? Like being able to eat more food and maintain a healthy, balanced weight. That was something that I wanted for so long. And it wasn't until I let go of that crash dieting and short-term quick fixes that do not work and started to invest my time into working with my body rather than against it. It's exactly how to rebuild your metabolism. The first step, and this is the foundation, if we have an adaptive metabolism that is now very slow, because until this point we've been eating very little, then we need to start eating enough, and we can do this strategically. Me personally, I just went all in and went all the way for it, but you can do it in a much more strategic way, where we essentially start feeding our bodies slightly more each time. This can help then our bodies to start to adapt to more of the food that we're starting to feed it without feeling like it's too much too soon. And the process of this is essentially called reverse dieting. What we're doing is, rather than keep decreasing our calories, we're essentially just slowly bringing them up. But what we essentially need to do is to start increasing the amount of food that we're having. So this could mean, for example, having a slightly bigger portion at breakfast time. This could be having more snacks in the day, having more carbohydrates at lunchtime or dinner time, like more of a bigger portion. Don't just think, oh, I'll just fill up on veggies and protein. We need to make sure that we're expanding the variety of foods that we're eating. So again, strategy with this is super important, and this is the work that I do a lot with my clients, where I go step by step in a more personalized approach, so and when you're having enough, and guide you step by step. Like I said, you can take from where you are right now and slowly start to increase the amount of food that you're having. That feels more manageable, or you could do it in bigger chunks. You could add an extra 300 to 500 calories per week. And again, what's going to happen is your body is going to start to match. The second way that we're going to increase our metabolism, and again, I touched on this in the video that I've mentioned before, I'll link it below, building muscle. Now, this is so important if we're wanting to build an efficient working metabolism. muscle is going to be your new metabolism's best friend. Muscle is metabolically active, so we need to make sure that we are resistance training, lifting weights, building quality muscle. That way our metabolism is going to increase. The more muscle that we have on our body, the higher our metabolism is going to be, because having muscle on our bodies literally requires more calories to just exist. However, if you genuinely enjoy cardio, which for me I always have, when I used to hear these people telling me that I needed to just focus on building muscle, it didn't always resonate with me because I enjoyed going out for runs. I don't anymore, but at the time I really enjoyed certain exercises. So if you do genuinely prefer doing cardio, then that is absolutely okay. You can still do those kind of workouts that you genuinely enjoy. The difference is we're being more strategic and we're not overexerting ourselves, and we're not stressing our body out by doing endless amounts of cardio. We're now teaching our body to build quality muscle over constantly burning calories and burning through that muscle. So the two can coexist, and you can balance out both cardio and lifting weights. Definitely prioritize lifting weights or resistance training over doing lots and lots of cardio. For example, you could do 1 cardio session a week and two weightlifting sessions a week. Please let go of this idea that lifting weights is going to make you look super bulky or like a power lifter. This big misconception, particularly with women, that as soon as they start lifting weights, they're going to get bigger and they're really scared about building muscle. I cannot tell you, the best decision that I ever made was starting to focus on resistance training. Again, it's all about being strategic. You can literally shape your body in any kind of way, but doing the right exercises and being selective with the types of exercises you do, the types of reps you do, the types of weight you do. Doing that is what's going to dictate how your body looks. However, cardio is also really beneficial for our heart health, so I would always encourage people to try to include some of that within their training. Definitely don't rely on things like cardio for your exercise, particularly if you want to increase your metabolism. The last point that I really want to touch on, and this is probably they're all important, but one of the most important things, and this is more in relation to your mindset of letting go of short-term quick fixes. I cannot tell you enough, short-term quick fixes do not exist. There is always a consequence with short-term quick fixes. If you can focus and invest your time on being consistent over the long term versus trying to a new quick fix crash diet, will get to where you want to be so much quicker. Everything really changed when I started to shift my mindset around trying to achieve things really quickly, to invest in my time and enjoying the process. And again, this is the work that I do with my clients, to help you enjoy the process whilst getting to where you want to be, but feeling good throughout as well. Because I know how difficult it can be. I know that we are surrounded by constant quick fixes and comparison and things like that. So I know firsthand it can feel quite daunting and scary and overwhelming. So if you are looking for more support, I will link down my coaching details down in the description box below if you want to reach out and find out how you can work with me one-on-one. Equally, have that mindset of focusing on the long term. Don't get to where we want to be overnight. It just doesn't happen like that. So we need to start to make those changes and being strategic with it, but being consistent. Consistency is the main point of this. Short-term quick fixes don't work, because that's essentially what has brought us here in the first place. So I really hope this video has been helpful. Remember, your metabolism is not broken, it's just adapted to what we've been doing for so long over time, so we can reverse these effects. And when we do, that's when life gets better. That's when we're no longer obsessed with food thoughts all of the time and we feel really chaotic. So once we have the right strategy in place, we're eating enough for our body, we're starting to eat more and no longer crash diet, we're lifting weights and training efficiently and effectively, making sure that we're having enough rest in between, and we're staying consistent. That's when things start to really change. change. Once again, if you're looking to have more guided support one-on-one, then I will link my coaching details down in the description box below. Equally, I also have a 4-week training reset program. If that sounds like something you would like more support in when it comes to your training, maybe you're not quite sure on where to start when it comes to resistance training, 4-week reset will be perfect for you. So I will link all of the details down in the description box below. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, comment below, or reach out on Instagram. And with that being said, I will see you in the next video.